You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
I thank y'all very much for tuning into the No Fruit Podcast today. I want to just jump right into the show, but I got to introduce who we're talking to. She is a cum laude graduate from Austin Peay State University with a Bachelor's of Science in Public Management. She's a caregiver. She's a veteran. She's I don't even know what else to say because she's very inspiring. And while we were in the green room, she's opening up and telling us about her story. And I think some of us are dealing with these moments today where we're not motivated, where we may not even feel like we're worthy of what we've been blessed with. So right after this, I will bring her to the stage, and we're going to pump some hope into our community today. Be right back.
Let's talk about love and marriage the way that God intended. Life experience, here we share it. The No Fruit Podcast. Tune in from any platform. No Fruit Podcast. Will help your spirit transform.
We thank you for tuning in to us. We bring none other than, I don't know what to tell her. I mean, as I did my research, she don't like the word try. There's other things that she's not feeling, right? But she's very accomplished, and she has reached places that, some of us just wish we can be. So I bring none other to you than Zorina Pritchett. Thank you very much for coming on to the show.
Thank you for inviting me. It's such a pleasure.
Sure, no problem. So we talked off screen about just staying motivated, right? Through all our trials and tribulations, just staying, focused based off of anything that we had going on. We were supposed to do this show a couple months ago, but both you and I were sick. We were under the weather, right? But we also understand that things happen in not our time, but God's time.
Yes.
How do you stay motivated, even though you may not consider that it is God's time?
Oh, wow. That is a good question, because I'm not going to lie to your audience. I do have hiccups in my staying motivated, and I contribute that to the flesh saying, hey, what's going on here? I want to do something else. But the spiritual side of me knows that God can get me through it.
Yes.
And so when I focus on the Lord, it just seems like things feel better. They feel different. Not the circumstances have changed. And sometimes our circumstances don't change, but how we respond to those things change. And having the patience. And even when I don't give myself grace, God always send an angel to say, girl, give yourself some grace. I'm like, yeah, I should do that. But it's primarily being humble and vulnerable and telling the Lord what I think I need and letting his will be done in my life, because I can explain what I think I need. But then God shows up in another way sometimes and say, my sister, my child, this is what you need. And I'm going to tell you, when he shows up, it's like an aha, like, Lord, thank you. And I feel it. And so that is what helps me to stay focused, to get up each day, is because I know God is cheering me on. He's cheering me on because he placed me in this situation. And if he's willing to show up, then I need to show up.
That's good. That's good. I think you said a few key words there, patience and humble. I know we all struggle with that, especially. That's Maurice's favorite word. He likes to say he doesn't have patience. So, with that, sometimes we don't have the patience. We've talked a lot about on our show with our audience of just this microwave generation that we're in, and we want things like right now. We want the answers right now. So how do you deal with it when our patience is lacking. And I think we talked about a little bit before the show with you that there's just things that you want. And sometimes that's different than what God wants for us. Like you said, something will show up and you'll have that aha moment like, oh, this is really what God wants for me, but it may be different than what we want. And we have to have that patience for God to work things out. So talk to us a little bit about that patience.
Well, honestly, I learned patience in two ways. I
Okay.
learned it when I became a caregiver for my brother when he needed me after having a brain stroke.
Mm.
And when you're in a situation where you have to provide the need of a someone else,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
everything for them so they can have a life and thrive, it's very irritating. I'm gonna be honest, it's
Yeah.
very irritating because you can't walk away from them, especially when there's no one else to take care of them. And the unique thing about it, how God did that, I'm still trying to figure this one out. This is the brother that we used to bump heads with, and
Right,
I'm the one
right.
that had to take care of him. And so during that 2 year experience of taking care of him and getting him back to a healthy state, it
Mm-hmm.
required a lot of patience.
Mm-hmm.
I was very impatient to the point I almost took myself out by accidentally taking his medication.
Oh, wow.
And so it was a nurse that told me, slow down.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. You got this. And then the other patient part is when God had given me the game that I created that's on the market. And just to go through having people look at me in a strange way and wondering, what's wrong with me. I had to
Mm-hmm.
be patient
Mm-hmm.
and understanding that everyone is not going to always see our gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Everyone is not going to always appreciate the service that you provide.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to be patient with them and understanding that, okay, you don't have it, but that's okay. I understand it. I
Mm-hmm.
know
Right.
why I'm doing this. And so I have to have the patience to let God work things out and bring that pathway so I can
Mm-hmm.
walk in the light the way He wanted me to.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've had friends, even my close companion, tell me, "Oh, you don't have any patience." And yeah, there are times I feel like I'm a little impatient,
Mm-hmm.
but most of us are more impatient with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so I'm here to tell you, if you lack patience, it's okay because that's just another area that God can develop and
Mm-hmm.
work in you. And then when He wants you to test that patience, like He did me with my brother, calling me into this business space, I have grown so much in patience that I don't even say I don't have patience anymore. I just say, you know what, I'm just a little irritated. That's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just a little
That's a
irritated.
good way to put
But
it.
most importantly, I want to say patience. I think it's something we grow into.
Yes.
It's not something that's automatic.
Mm-hmm.
And your degree of patience
Mm-hmm.
is in tandem with God developing you and taking you where He wants you to be in your life. So give yourself grace, like people
Mm-hmm.
tell me, and stop saying, I don't have
That's right.
patience.
Stop saying
Say,
it.
you know what? I experience patience, and sometimes patience is a little challenging,
Yes.
but I'm okay because I do have the depth of patience.
There you go.
So, I think Kafa, she's mentioned to me that I have patience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have tolerance for the craziness. So I think so I have changed that idea.
Yes.
But there's another part that you referenced as well. A lot of times when people don't buy into your vision,
Mm.
they don't see what God has given to you and how you're working through it. And, not only you have to work through them not seeing your vision, but you also say, well, God, are you sure you want me to do this? Are you calling me really to this place? Like
Mm-hmm.
no one else sees this or feels this or understands where this is going. So how would you say that your faith kept you strong through this process as well?
Oh yeah. When I first became a game creator, it was a shocking to me because that's not my background. And when
Mm-hmm.
God gave me the game to create Somatic Shift, I sought help, human help, I say, mentors to try to help me
Mm-hmm.
along this way. And I didn't receive the help that I thought. I thought it would be a welcoming experience,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm finding it's not at times. And so during those times where it's not welcoming, I do have to really implement my faith and keep telling myself, God called me into this space and that I have to keep my eyes on Him. And I know it's not easy. I'm not going to tell you
Mm-hmm.
it's easy. It's not because I waver sometimes. But the good thing about having the faith in God and you
Mhm.
know God called you into a space, it's okay to waver, but you don't want to give up.
That's right.
You
Mm.
don't want to give up because we don't walk by sight, we walk by
Mm.
faith.
Yeah.
And sometimes God is showing, every time, honestly, God is showing me that He's with me from the time
Mm.
I had to create the game when a store misquote the price. They told me 965 to develop the prototype and they made it wrong. And then when I went back, they said, oh no, it's 1,195, but we're going to write it off because we made the
Hmm.
mistake. And I was like, praise God.
Yes.
And so every step of the way, when God called you into something, He sends someone to help you, whether it's a word or a contribution or a gift. And so that is how I keep my faith, is because I have no one to turn to,
Mhm.
honestly.
Hmm.
Mhm.
With so much going on in the world, everyone has their own problems.
Hmm.
And so I have found that the best person or entity to really lean on is our God,
Yes.
because
Mm.
He's never too busy to listen to you. And there are times I've cried to Him and said, God, show me the way. I don't know all this technical stuff. I don't
Mhm.
know this. I don't know that. And once I finish praying and meditating, it's like a calmness comes over you, a
Hmm.
Mhm.
Hmm.
peace, a reassurance. Like he just wrapped me up in His arms and say, girlfriend, I got this.
Right.
Right.
Just
Right.
keep, I got this. You just chill a little bit and let me work this out for you.
Mhm.
And so that's what keeps me going, is the faith in knowing that He will never leave me or forsake me.
Mm.
Yes, yes, that's good. That's good. You've talked a lot about this game that you've produced. Tell us a little bit more about it. What brought it on? You said it came to you in a dream, I believe. But
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the game. Who's it for? Um,
I think honestly, God gave me the gift of the game because at that time I was going into my first year, completing my first year helping my brother, and it was a
mhm.
very struggle because it was COVID. We
Mhm.
couldn't get
Yes.
any help. I couldn't get any therapy for him. And so I think God saw something in me that I needed to also use for him.
Hmm.
Mhm.
And so He gave me the game in December of 21. And I tried not to develop it because I am not a game person. I realized that I just don't have the capacity of staying focused.
Okay.
Mm.
I just couldn't stay focused. And so with this game, it's such a quick play game. You can play it in 10 minutes or less. And so I was able to develop this game. And I realized with my own family, because I have a granddaughter who was always in her phone.
Mm.
And so we started playing it with her. And we found out that she had emotional regulation issues,
Hmm.
and
Mm.
so we worked through that because the game is very quick paced. Some people
Hmm.
say it remind them of little Uno, left, right, center, and things of that nature. But I was able to play the game with my brother that really helped his cognitive,
That's
his
great.
fine motor skills. And then I
Mm.
also had an opportunity to play with kids that are on the spectrum,
Hmm.
Mm.
to play with them. And so the game was able to be modified for them. And so I knew there was something special. But then when people kept questioning me, I asked God why. And it was like a still voice saying that digital devices, parents are relying on digital
Mhm.
devices
Hmm.
too much. And it's eroding the social connection for
Yes.
kids, and it's affecting their social well-being. And there really do need to be a balance, even though experts are telling us that. But we continue to put
Hmm.
digital devices in front of our children and expecting them to raise them and educate them. But I encourage parents to find other non-digital entertainment and connect with your children, find out what's going on. And when I want to be nosy as a grandmother, I'll play the games with my grands, and then I can ask them questions while
Right.
we're playing the game, and they share things that they haven't shared with their
Hmm.
family,
Right.
Hmm.
their
Right.
parents. And so I think it's because we're in a relaxing situation. And one other thing about the game is it's not a game where you got to do a lot of thinking.
Okay.
It's
Mm.
a very chance style game. It's just a constant movement game. You don't keep your original hand, it shifts to the
Mm.
left, to the
Hmm.
right.
Hmm.
And it's just a simple game that multi-generational can play
Mhm.
and have fun. And so I think that's what God called me to do, is just put this game out there and show people it's time to go back.
Yes.
Prior to COVID, we
Mm.
really had a lot of connections and families were getting together, but
Hmm.
COVID robbed us of that social
Mhm.
connection. It isolated us.
Yes.
And We need to get back there because the digital world is wonderful. But if you notice, everything that's coming out digital is creating that isolation, and
Right.
we need to stop it. And
Mm-hmm.
the first defense is parents,
Yes.
with their children. And that's what it's all about.
So, um, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I think what you're talking about is very key
Mm-hmm.
because we have lost that connection. I think it happened even before COVID. I think COVID just exposed it even more, but I think that's a key component because a lot of families, and my neighbor and I talk about it all the time, we don't get together for dinner anymore. We don't go to Big Mama's house on Sunday afternoons, right? We're not doing holiday dinners as much as we used to. And then once we get older, as we age, now we're getting disconnected with those, like you said, your grandchildren, by next thing you know, they're 15, 16, 21, 24, and now all of a sudden they're getting married. Now you don't even know what to get them for Christmas or a birthday or even a housewarming. Like, I didn't know you moved. So how important do you think it is for us to get back to what we grew up with, those traditional aspects of our lives?
I think now with the climate it's more important
Mm-hmm.
because we have to believe in our communities, in most communities, family was strength.
Mm-hmm.
When people were going through with family, we would have prayer. We can
Mm-hmm.
pray for them. We can correct their behavior.
Yes.
And kids had an opportunity to see faith work when people gave those testimonies and stuff because they saw how someone would struggle and how maybe some aid came to help them.
Mm-hmm.
But now studies are showing that kids are not connected spiritually anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So if we continue to go down the pathway that's being shown to us, what's going to be their anchor?
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I truly believe we have a drug issue because people are not connecting spiritually. They're trying to figure it out in a humanistic way,
Mm-hmm.
and humans only have the bandwidth to handle so much.
Right.
And so they're trying to find an easy way out to check out of their pain, and that's with drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that with family now, it's so important that you push through this and get your family together and say, we're going to have dinner. We're going to play games. We're going to pray together. We're going to check on each other because together we can get through this. But when we're isolated, that makes it easy for the enemy to pick us off one at a
Right.
time.
Right.
And I think that's what's happening in so many communities, that isolation. They said, depression is on the rise, anxiety, suicide. You look at the prosperity of America and you're like, wow, why are we such sad people?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because we're staying like on an island and we're
Mm-hmm.
not reaching out, and we don't give space for people to be vulnerable and to be honest that they're hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think families can be that anchor for everyone to say, you know what, I'm hurting. What can we do for you? How can we pull together and help each other? We shouldn't always have to pull together for a funeral.
Right.
We should pull together
Right.
to lift each other, to motivate each other, to encourage each other. And that's how I believe that we really do need, that is what we need to do to thrive and survive during this time and in the future.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. And
Mm-hmm.
I think we've tried to make some of those changes in our own family of
Right.
getting together. Our kids, are in their 20s, but they still like family game night. But let's say like, hey, kids, like, come on, let's play a card game or play something else. And,
Right.
again, sometimes it's not a quick game. It takes forever for us to get through a game.
Yeah.
But we get through it, and it's a great time. And I think they all look forward to that. But then you spoke a little bit earlier about, in the past, you and your brother butted heads. Growing up, siblings do that. And that makes it challenging moving forward. And it's challenging to get together as a family, whether it's for a dinner or whether it's for a game night, or even if you become their caregiver, it's just like, instead of it being an aha moment, it's God saying, ha, ha, ha. You thought, you weren't going to see this person again. Like, you got grown and now you don't have to deal with them. But then you become their caregiver, or, you thought you didn't have to deal with it, but then your parents call you up and say, come on over, we're going to have dinner. You're like, well, I don't even like this person. And you're saying you're inviting them to dinner. So how do you deal with that when you did have a rocky past, but you want, and the benefit of your family getting together, and you you need that, as we get older, we don't have anybody really but family, so
Mhm.
you need to depend upon them or want them in your life, but you know that, hey, we used to butt heads back in the day. So tell us a little bit about how we can help with that.
Well, I have family members that I've distanced myself
Mm-hmm.
from.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people don't realize that that's okay. I'm respectful. If they call me up right today and they're in a need, I'm going to help
Help
them.
them, right?
Right.
But talking to them on a regular basis, I don't do that because
Mm-hmm.
some people are not always good for our emotional health.
Correct.
Right.
And I think the thing with my brother was there was no one else to take care of him. And so people will tell me, oh, you're such a good sister. And I say, no, it's the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no matter the tension between family, it's always going, in my opinion, the right thing to do to show up for them. Even if you can't show up for them financially, because maybe they're always digging up in your pocket.
Right.
But you can always say, I have a word for you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a word for you. Do you need me to come over and help you clean? Or do you have,
Right.
there's other things that you can
do.
pour into them. And so, do I wish I had a better relationship with them? I do. But I don't want a better relationship where I sacrifice my mental health to try to
Mhm.
get along with them because my parents are gone. And
Mhm.
so parents are like a rock. I always felt like no matter what's going on in the world, as long as I got my mom and dad, I'm okay.
Right.
And I was and a lot of people may not agree with me, but this is my thing. My real family was my mom and dad who created me. All the
Mhm.
rest of you are extras. You're just extras.
Right.
I just came out and they told me I had to love Uncle Joe and
Mhm.
Aunt Stu and cousin so and so.
Right, right.
And I learned over time to develop that love.
Mhm.
But that true unconditional love was those parents that birthed me and gave
Right.
me life and taught me things. And so they're no longer with me.
Mhm.
And a lot of us experience that when we lose that
Right.
rock in our family, the dynamics change.
Right.
And so, but it's up to us to decide, okay, the matriarch or the patriarch is not here, but we're going to keep this together. It takes someone to rise above. And a lot of times that doesn't happen. Family break out into different cliques and everything
Right.
like that. And so when my brother fell ill, they had advice, but no one wanted to show up to take care of him and cook his meals and try to make sure he made those doctor's appointments. They left all of that on me. But you know what? It's okay because I grew through that experience to know that I do have a depth of a heart that I can willing to sacrifice part of myself for the good. And that good was not only just helping my brother to survive. I didn't want him just to survive, guys. I wanted him to thrive.
Yes.
And I'm proud to say that he is now living on his own.
Wow.
Nice.
That's
He
God.
takes care of himself. Family pushed against that, but God showed me, spoke through me. I'm gonna find you a place, and God found him a place in 2 days, a place that people support him.
Mhm.
They invite him to activities, and so when God shows up in our family dynamics, it's gonna be all right.
Yes.
Pray for Uncle Joe and Aunt Sue and everybody else. Just pray for him.
Just pray for
Because
him.
just pray for while you sitting there. If it's a spirit, you can be rebuking
Right.
them while they talking and laughing.
Mhm.
But God is we have to show God in all aspects of our life. And the most challenging sometimes is family.
Mhm.
But you can get through it because the one thing you do not want to do is cut off your blessings.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
You don't want to cut off your blessings. And we have to be a light in front of our family as well as out there in the community all time. That light's supposed to shine. And sometimes it get a little dim and God have to give us a little charge, but you
Yes.
still stand firm in his word
Yes.
and be the person that he called you to be. And that is to show love, unconditional love to everybody. And that
Right.
includes that family.
That's good.
Wow. Zarina, first of all, we just want to thank you for coming on the
Thank you.
show.
Yes.
But, I think that's a great way to segue off because you talk about the blessings of God and how even in a moment of bleakness, where people are not aware or they're not supportive, through it all, your brother still has come out a victor, right? But most importantly as well, you've come out a victor as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
And so you've been able to show people like, hey, no matter what the situation is, we're here, right? And God is continually in the blessing business, so let's not forget that. So I thank you very much for coming on the show and just reminding us of that because sometimes we forget it.
That is so true. And I would like to just tell your audience, if you are a family that love playing games and you want a game that's not quick and you want a game that's quick, I'm not saying not quick. You want a game that's quick that you can play in 10 minutes or less. Check out Zomatic Shift. I know it's a weird name, but God gave it to me. So, but you can look at my website at Zochey, that's ZOCHEY.com. And come together. Let's just have fun. Let's just love up on each other. Let's just encourage each other. And I think if we do that, we're going to get through this with a new perspective, a new confidence, an increased faith. And that's what we want. We don't want anything that's going on outside of us in this world to put a damper on what God has called us to be, and that is to draw people unto him. And we have the capacity to do that. And let's do that together as a community. And go ahead and bring them family members in there. Too. Don't forget to pray for them.
I know that's right. That's right. So again, we thank you very much for coming on the show. But we do have one more question as we end off every show.
Yeah, you said you have a really quick game, and that's wonderful, and we all want to play together and pray together. But my quick question for you, it's a really quick question. If you could sing a duet with anyone in the world, living or deceased, who would you sing that duet with, Zorina?
Oh, Luther Vandross.
Luther, yes.
Oh my God, I wish I would have had a chance to go see him in concert. I love Luther. Oh
Really?
my God, he could just make you feel so relaxed. And even if, I have to say this, ladies, even if you ain't got a man, Luther make you feel like you wish you had one.
Yes.
It would be Luther Vandross. I love how God blessed him with such a beautiful voice, to serenade us, love, and make us just have the imagination what love could be with the right person, and God being in the center of that love. I tell you what, how about some beautiful babies to humble and raise to seek the Lord.
I don't know if you would do much singing the way you're sounding like it. Just be watching Luther sing.
I'll be singing in his ear.
Yeah.
Yes. Get it, girl. You get it. Yes.
Wow, that is
Wonderful.
hilarious.
Yes.
But I'm going to act like I'm not here anymore.
Yes.
Thank you, Zorina, very much for playing with that.
That was wonderful, yes.
And thank you for the vision, right, of you and Luther. But we appreciate you coming on. And, of course, all your information will be in the show notes. So your website and, the information about the game and everything else.
So thank you all
for your support.
Sure, no problem. And thank you very much for listening to the No Fruit Podcast, and we will talk to you just a little later.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the No Fruit Podcast, where we bring you fruitful conversations, ripened wisdom, and love that's deeply rooted. We hope today's discussion left you feeling uplifted, encouraged, and ready to take on life's journey with purpose. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who could use a little inspiration in their day. You can catch up on past episodes, send us your thoughts, or learn more about us on social media. Until next time, stay rooted in love, and remember, every seed you plant today shapes the fruit of tomorrow. Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Nice. I love your packaging.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.